Apparently you guys like Splatoon content, huh? Seriously, thank you all so much for the support on my last video. Considering Splatoon 3 is less than 3 weeks away at the time of writing this script, with the Splatfest World Premiere being this weekend as well, I'm just as hyped as you all are. Since my chance to make a video like this is running out, and I already have a slightly larger following thanks to my previous video, which you should go check out if you haven't before it's too late, I figured I'd go ahead and make a video about the one feature I think is an absolute must-have for the Splatoon series going forward. But in order to tell you about that, I'm going to have to give a bit of context. Throughout all of the promotional material that's been released in the build-up to Splatoon 3, there's one thing I've been persistently impressed with, and that's the music. The Splatoon series is full of fantastic tracks, taking a bunch of real-world genres and throwing in a touch of unintelligible made-up lyrics in the language of the Inklings. It makes the music instantly recognizable as being from Splatoon, and fleshes out the world of the game by giving us minor, and sometimes major, details about the backgrounds and personalities of the fictional artists responsible for these tunes. However, as the series continues and more songs are created for each new game and update, the older songs are bound to get left behind and forgotten, especially by those who didn't get into the series until the more recent games. Sure, some songs will inevitably come back and be reiterated on with each game, like the Squid Sisters' Calamari Incantation, as well as each game's iterations of Splatack and Now or Never, but there are some absolute classics from the first Splatoon that have already faded out of view, such as Seascape, Sucker Punch, and even the original Splatfest theme, Ink Me Up. I guess this makes the game's world more realistic in a way. In the world of Splatoon, bands rise and fall, songs go in and out of popularity and occasionally make comebacks, but usually only the die-hard fans of those songs or artists keep the tune alive in the long term. And only the best penetrate our cultural subconscious and stay popular for decades to come. Some that immediately come to mind from the real world are Queen's We Will Rock You and Bohemian Rhapsody, Lady Gaga's Just Dance and Poker Face, and some of Michael Jackson's early work. Well, not that early, I guess. Maybe more of the 80s stuff? There we go, that's better. Anyways, while these songs may have stuck in the mainstream, a ton of good songs have been forgotten about and passed into relative obscurity, unless you were personally a big fan of them and bought the songs for your own listening pleasure. But at least right now, Nintendo likes to keep their music under lock and key, rarely releasing them in physical formats, and usually in Japan exclusively, and releasing them on digital or streaming platforms even more infrequently. Sure, you might be able to find these songs uploaded unofficially to sites like YouTube or SoundCloud, but Nintendo could issue a takedown order to these people anytime they want to. I mean, we've already seen entire channels uploading huge chunks of Nintendo's musical history just disappear instantly because of stuff like this. And currently, the only official way to listen to any of the Splatoon soundtracks is by naturally hearing them in the game or by purchasing Japan-exclusive CD copies, which... okay, that's funny. Clever naming convention, Nintendo. But the point is that these CDs are super hard to come by outside of Japan, and if you really want to get them, you're gonna have to pay a pretty penny. And it's not like Nintendo doesn't know people love the Splatoon soundtracks. Heck, they've hosted multiple live hologram concerts for the game's idols and uploaded recordings of them to YouTube. And a lot of the time, the idols and their music are integral to the plots of these games. I mean, just take a look at the finales of all 3 Splatoon story modes that are out right now. And sure, there are some songs from the first Splatoon and the Squid Beats minigame in Splatoon 2, but most of those have to be unlocked with Amiibo anyways, which are even harder to find for a decent price than the CDs. Plus, it's just not really the ideal way to listen to most of these songs. All that to say, I think I've come up with the best solution Nintendo could possibly have to this problem, other than, just officially releasing the soundtracks on iTunes and Spotify. The one feature that Splatoon 3 has to have is a music player. Yeah, you probably had a feeling this is where I was going, considering how much I was talking about the music. But I'm not just talking about some minor feature like, oh look, here you can listen to music from across the Splatoon series while you, browse the menus or something. No, I'm thinking something more along the lines of what the Super Smash Bros. Games do with their music options. If you've played any Smash games since Brawl, excluding Smash 3DS, you'll know that you can manually select the music that will play on each stage, and change how likely it is that certain songs will pop up. Splatoon 3 and future Splatoon games could seriously benefit from a similar system. Imagine being able to bring back classic songs from the first 2 Splatoon games and have them play while you're playing your normal matches. And if you like the old music but still want to listen to the newer songs more often, well then you can just adjust the slider and make the newer songs more likely to play, but still have a chance of the older ones dropping in from time to time. But Kit, you say, that's an awful lot of music to sort through. Wouldn't it be a pain to go through it all individually and adjust the slider on everything? There's a ton of music in this series. Ah, but my solution for that issue is twofold, my friend. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, Splatoon prides itself on having a wide variety of fictional bands that cover a wide variety of genres. While you would of course be able to adjust the likelihood of certain songs showing up individually, you'd also be able to adjust them based on the artist. Say you're a huge fan of Harmony and you want to hear more of the chirpy chips, just crank up the slider and let the tunes flow. And of course, the sliders could be grouped beyond just the bands. They could also cover the type of music, or the game that the music originated from. If you're in a festive mood, just increase the Splatfest slider and go out and battle. If you're nostalgic for the Wii U era, slide up the Splatoon 1 category. You could even make playlists and presets for your favorite songs. Secondly, not all of the music from the previous games would be unlocked right from the start. That's where the introduction of a new shop comes in, one specifically for purchasing music and the like. Retro-style music stores are super common in a lot of cities, and something like this would fit Splatoon's aesthetic and world perfectly. Maybe they could even have one of the minor band members running it, like how Harmony is running Hotlantis. The songs could even be displayed as cassette tapes or records and purchased with the cash you earn from battles, incentivizing you to battle more so that you can unlock more songs. I'm honestly baffled that Nintendo hasn't included something like this in any of the Splatoon games so far, considering how much of the series is focused on its music. And while it doesn't look like anything this substantial is going to be in Splatoon 3 at launch, that doesn't mean it couldn't be added in a future update to the game, or even a future game in the series. Of course, an ideal scenario would have all of Nintendo's music be readily available for people to buy in the real world, but in terms of what they could do to preserve the musical history of the games within themselves, this feature would go a long way to doing that. And we've seen they aren't opposed to doing that, considering how much effort they put into curating the soundtrack of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But for now, it just remains a concept. Thanks to all of you for watching this video all the way to the end, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and maybe subscribe for more like it. I posted a video not long ago recapping everything Nintendo has revealed about Splatoon 3 that wasn't in any of the previous trailers, so check that out if you're up for more Splatoon content. Leave a comment telling me what other features you'd like to see added to Splatoon 3, or just feel free to gush about your favorite Splatoon songs. I've been listening to Sucker Punch from Splatoon 1 recently, and that's actually part of what inspired me to make this video, though I've had the music player idea in my head since before the channel started gaining traction. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day.